Most business owners are not sure what kind of business funding to seek during this crisis, and even how to access funding. What advice do you have for them? This is the advice I have for you. Seek the right financing for the right asset at the right time. The financing you seek to raise will depend on 1, timing, and 2, what asset you are financing. Let us discuss the issue of timing. A business has a life cycle. You have a startup phase where nobody knows you, no one is buying from you, sales are limited. You have a high growth phase when sales are increasing. With time, a business matures. Then the last phase is a decline phase. The financing you raise depends on where in that life cycle your business is. A business that is in the startup phase is a risky business. Customers don't know you, they don't trust your technology, you have limited sales. When business risk is high, you will use equity as your primary source of capital. Risk your own money. Alternatively, find other investors who are willing to accept the level of risk your startup is exposing them to. Risk your own money in the startup phase. When your business gains traction, sales are growing, business risks are still high, there is no guarantee that you will be able to raise the financing that you need to finance your growth. Whatever you sell must be produced. For you to produce, you need capital assets. You will need capital, you will need funds, you will need to raise finance to finance the capital assets. In the growth phase, there is no guarantee that you will continue raising funds to finance the investments that are required in your capital assets. Business risks are high. Also, your market is not guaranteed. It is also during that high growth phase that a lot of competing businesses enter the market. In the growth phase, your primary source of finance remains equity. The most accessible source of equity is retained earnings. The profits that you have made, reinvest your profits. Alternatively, you can raise capital from external providers of equity, and these are the private equity investors. And today there are quite a number of private equity investors operating in Kenya. As the business matures, the business enters into a phase that we call cash build. You have already invested in the capital equipment that you require to run your business. You're selling, you have a market share, and you may have surplus cash. These cash surpluses are what you will pay your debt service from. In maturity phase, when you have surplus cash, it is at that point that you can move on to using debt finance. You can begin leasing assets, lease equipment, take asset finance loan, take mortgages to acquire premises. So in maturity phase, you have sufficient cash flows. You will be able to pay your debt service as contracted. use debt for a business that is in maturity. So remember that the right finance depends on the stage your business is at in its life cycle. Then, the second concept that you need to understand is this: use the right source of finance to finance the right asset. And here, basically, the argument is this: match the life of the asset to the term of financing. If it is working capital, inventories that you will sell in the next 3 months, you can take an overdraft. You can take a working capital finance loan, probably which will be payable within 1 year. So you will be matching the life of the asset to the duration of the finance. If you are buying equipment, machinery, computers, motor vehicles, then you can use asset finance loans, leases, which match the life of the asset. If you're buying a house, a building, business premises, you can get a mortgage, which again matches the life of the asset with the duration of the loan. So use the right source of financing to finance the right assets. That way, you will not go wrong.